Tonight for dinner, I'm going to make seafood with spaghetti for my brother and my husband who love fish. I was cleaning my freezer out and I found a bag of the seafood medley from BJ's that I had from Christmas. And I found some clams, so I'm going to use that. I have olive oil, the Lesvos Farms, some Chardonnay, some Passata from Cento, that's what I had handy, some clam juice, salt and pepper. I'm going to put in, I don't want to use onion today, so I'm going to use a shallot. I have 3 cloves of garlic that I'm going to add because I have the parsley, garlic, and basil mix that I keep in the freezer all the time. So tonight I'm going to actually use that. I have some spaghetti, and I'm going to also add some crushed tomatoes to that. And I did bake some cheese bread this morning, so that's going to be dinner tonight. I'm going to put the sauce up in a few minutes, so I'll take you along as I put the sauce up. And this will be dinner tonight. Not for me because I don't like seafood, so I'm going to pull mine out. I made some plain tomato sauce earlier this morning, and so I'm going to actually have my spaghetti with that. There really is not a lot of prep for this meal. I just diced up a shallot pretty small. I sliced up some garlic because even though I have a ton of garlic in the basil and the parsley, this really needs a lot of garlic. So I'm adding some sliced instead of crushed garlic to this because I want a little bit of texture in the sauce. So I'm going to put the sauce up in a few minutes, but having the parsley and basil and garlic already prepared. I don't put oil in that because sometimes I don't want oil in the mix, and tonight I'm going to use a different olive oil than what I have frozen in the freezer. So this is just about ready to go. I'm going to start the sauce in a few minutes and I'll take you along. So I'm just getting ready to start the sauce. I made some Marcella Hazan sauce this morning, and that's what I'm going to use on my spaghetti, but now I'm going to start this other spaghetti. So I'm putting in a nice amount of olive oil. I'm going to try the Greek olive oil tonight, the Lesvos Farms, and see how that is. I usually use an Italian olive oil, but I'm going to try this tonight since I have the bottle. And so I'm going to let that heat up a little bit, and then I'm going to add the shallots, and then I'm going to add the garlic after the shallots cook a few minutes. Then I'll add the rest of the herbs and salt and pepper and the tomatoes and let it cook. It has to cook probably about 20 to 25 minutes, and then we'll add the seafood. I'll put up the water for the pasta. I have a pot with the water in it. I just have to salt it. And we'll probably have dinner in about an hour or so. So the oil is just heating up. Once it gets to a nice temperature, then we'll add in the shallots. So the oil is hot, and I just added the scallions to the pan. I don't have that much oil. This is a really big pan, so I don't want to soak the sauce in a ton of oil. So I'm just going to let this kind of brown, but I wanted a pot that would be deep enough for the spaghetti and the seafood and everything else. I'm going to run the seafood under water once I get the sauce up, and then I'll put the water for the pasta up at the same time. So by the time the sauce is done in around 20 minutes, the water will be boiling, the seafood will be still frozen but ready to go into the pan. So you can just see it starting to bubble up a little bit. And then I'm going to add the garlic, the slices of garlic to it. I don't want them to burn, so I'm holding a few minutes until the scallions just get a little bit of color, soften up just a little bit. Just take a couple of minutes. And this is a quick sauce, so I don't know why anybody buys jarred sauces because making pasta sauce is so easy. I think I could do this in my sleep. This is basically what I do for my mussels marinara on Christmas Eve. I'm just going to add a little bit of clam juice in to make sure I have enough tonight. But generally speaking, it's the same exact thing. White wine, garlic, oil, shallots. I'm going to add just a little bit more oil in there. And I think I pretty much have killed that bottle of oil that I got from Lesvos Farms. It's sitting on my counter, but it's just about done. But I think that this will add a nice... I don't want to overpower the seafood tonight because I'm not making my sauces full strength as I normally do because it's just my brother and my husband tonight. So I'm just putting up a little bit for them. So I'm going to come back on when their shallots are a little bit softer, so I don't have to bore you with that. You can see now that the shallots are pretty well where they need to be. They're softened, and I don't want them to get too cooked, so I'm going to add in the garlic. Again, that's the garlic that I always keep in my freezer. It already has garlic in it, and I just chopped up a little extra garlic to go with it. And we'll just let that cook for a minute or two. It really doesn't have to cook very long, and then we'll add the tomatoes. So, and the pan is really kind of big, but when the seafood goes in, you need the space. So I'm hoping, but I don't know if you can see the garlic in that basil and parsley mix, but there's a lot of chopped garlic in there too. So there's plenty of garlic in this dish, but you really want to sop up the bread with the sauce. I mean, some people like it white. You can do it in white, just a wine sauce, wine and lemon, but my crew prefers tomato, so that's what I'm doing. And again, this garlic is just going to cook for a minute or two, and then the tomatoes are going to go in. So I'm adding crushed tomatoes to the passata, just to give it a little bit more texture. You can use all crushed tomatoes, you can use a combination. It really doesn't matter. Recipes like this are very forgiving. Just make it however you like it. There's no right and wrong. The seasonings are always delicious, so no matter what you do, it'll come out wonderful. I also forgot, I'm going to add a little crushed red pepper. They like a little kick. This is Utica crushed red pepper. It comes from Avico spice brand. We used to live in Utica, New York. It's a very fine red pepper, so you don't get that bite of pepper in it. So I'm going to add just a teeny bit to that, just to give it a little bit of a kick. I added in 1 can of crushed tomatoes so that it wouldn't burn over there while I grabbed everything. And now I'm adding in the passata. I have 2 bottles. It's hard for me to get muti here. Once in a while, Publix has it, so sometimes I have to use the Cento brand, so that's what I have here. And I will add a little bit of water to those jars to empty them out. Actually, I think I might put the white wine in there instead of adding any water to the sauce. I'll add the clam juice, and I'll add the white wine and shake them out that way so that we get all the tomato inside. And that's basically it. We're going to add a little salt and pepper to it, and that'll be the sauce. So I'll come back on once I rinse the bottles out. I have a small bottle of Chardonnay here, so I'm going to add that to the glass bottle for the passata and shake that out with that. And I keep burning my hand on the pan as I'm putting my hand down, so that's not a good idea. So as you can see, I'm going to put this in, shake it up a little bit, put some in there. I'm going to put the clam juice in the other one, and then shake it out. But everything is going in the sauce, so we'll just give it a good shake around, get everything out of the bottle, and we'll be good. So that was the white wine going in from the bottle. And now I'll add the clam juice to the other one. So I added a clam juice. This is 8 ounces of clam juice. I always keep this in my pantry. It's great anytime you make anything with seafood in it. So I put it into that was the garbage pail, the Cento passata bottle, and that will get out all the liquid that was in there. And now you can see the bottles are clean. No need to add water to this. And that's about it. I'm going to stir it. This has to simmer probably about 20 minutes or so. Get everything mixed into it. I am going to add salt and pepper. I don't ever measure salt and pepper, so I imagine it's about maybe 1.5 teaspoons of salt and pepper. What I do is I usually take my mill and go around the pan. So I'm putting in about 1 teaspoon of salt maybe. And I got my pepper mill, which is noisy, so bear with me. I'm actually going around the whole pot, putting a little pepper on everything. And that's how I measure my pepper, generally speaking. Once everything has a little coating of it, it's usually enough. So that's it. The sauce has everything in it that needs to go in it until you put the seafood in it. So now it'll simmer for about 20 minutes or so, and I'll bring you back when we're ready to add the seafood. I sure wish you could smell my kitchen. I just took the seafood and the clams, and I'm putting them into the sink and running some water on them. I'm going to pull that clam shell out that's open. I don't like the way that looks. And I also have the container of mussels from Trader Joe's that I'm going to add some extra mussels because they like the mussels. They're slightly smoked mussels, but I'll just put them in just 2 seconds to heat them in the sauce. The sauce is bubbling away over here, and it smells amazing. I'm going to lower it to a simmer now, and once I put the meat in it, the water should be up to a boil for the pasta. And by the time the pasta boils, the seafood should be cooked. Everything should be cooked at the same time. The sauce has been simmering for about 20 minutes. I have the seafood drained. It's still frozen though, so I'm putting it in. It's going to take probably about 15 minutes to heat through. And in the meantime then, the pasta water is almost boiling, so everything should be done at the same time. So I'll bring you back when that's done. I'm also going to add, like I said, the mussels from Trader Joe's in there. So I'm going to add them right with the oil. So that's the full can of mussels in there as well. So there's plenty of seafood in this. And I would say probably 15 minutes tops, this should all be cooked. It's really, the clams already were cooked, they're frozen, and I think that this seafood was probably already cooked as well, so it was just frozen, so it's already cooling down. I raised the heat up now from a simmer to a little bit higher than that, so that will be dinner tonight in a few minutes. I'm just adding the spaghetti into the pot while that seafood is heating up. I don't like mine al dente, so I cook it a little bit more, so I'm giving it a little bit more time. This way everything will be done together. This will probably take about 12 minutes. And that's about what the seafood has left to heat. So the pasta is in, and dinner is almost ready. So you can see this is simmering away here a little bit. I give it one quick stir, but it's pretty hot. I really think that this is pretty much cooked. It doesn't need much time to cook, so everything should be ready here. So I'm going to drain this spaghetti and going right into the seafood over there. And then I'll put it into a serving dish, but I want to try to get most of the water out of it. I mean, a little water is not going to kill anything, but you don't want it sopping wet. So, I'm just hoping not to drain it all, but this thing is not as handy as it looks on the infomercials, this little gripper thing. So I want to just try to get all this pasta out of here. I think we're almost done. Yeah. I'm going to give this a quick toss in here with all the seafood. And I'm not putting cheese on it because I don't want to hear everybody, you can't put cheese on pasta, but they actually probably like cheese on their pasta, so they can put cheese on theirs when I get it over there. Now I'm just going to pour it into that bowl, and looks pretty good to me. So I'm hoping it's going to fit in the bowl that I have over here.
So.
Got it? Okay. Well, there's all the seafood. Not very pretty, I'm afraid, but I'm going to see if I can just grab a little bit of the sauce to put on the side in a serving bowl. I should have probably done that before I poured it in here, but sometimes when you're working by yourself, you can only do what you can do. But it sure smells good. I mean, I wish I liked seafood because I would probably like this, but not my thing. So the boys will like this. And I'll wipe that off. But there you go. Seafood pasta. It has mussels, it has calamari, it has shrimp. Yeah, I'll put a little bit on the top so you can see a little bit of everything. And that's dinner tonight. Well, dinner is ready. It's on the table. There's the seafood pasta, extra gravy. There's the cheese bread. As you can see, there's cheese running all throughout the bread. There's the plain pasta over there. And we're going to enjoy a good dinner tonight.